to know, are there businesses that are interested in receiving feedback from either each other or from the panelists that we've had? So, who would like to feedback from the feedback either for you to provide feedback to us or ask about feedback or give feedback to people in the room if you have something that someone spoke about during the networking, and you can provide that service, that help. That would be feedback. Thank you for asking that question. We don't have feedback forms, but we can certainly send them out electronically.
We have feedback forms. We have 3%.
You do? Okay.
Are you like mine all the time?
All right. So we'll grab some feedback forms. Anybody? Yes. So, okay, we have feedback for the lamp company. They would like to know how you feel about their product. So, you want to pass it through the table? Okay, go ahead. Pass it through the table.
With your point, am I giving feedback or receiving feedback?
Giving feedback.
I think we'll great information from this.
Or both. Yes, if you want to give feedback, that's my Okay, go ahead. Oh, yeah. All right, we'll clarify. We are looking for feedback. What is your business looking for? Was that satisfied here? Is there more that you need? What did you like about this form? What didn't you like about it? Is that clearer?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, let's get with that.
I understand. So I think everything was actually well organized. The information was, there's a lot of information I did not know that was, that we can utilize. So I'm looking forward to actually learning more about the internship possibilities and things of that nature. But I think everything was well organized.
Wonderful, thank you for that feedback, I appreciate it. Yes.
So I'll say this was amazing for us, especially for my son, because it's not very often that he gets to get out like this and be able to mingle with folks. So that's what you're doing. And we'll definitely be taking advantage of a lot of the resources that have been presented to us, because as a startup, you'll need it.
Wonderful, thank you, okay? That was great. Anyone else?
Where's Melissa?
Feedback.
Where'd she go? Right behind you. Come here. She had this cool idea, and I want her to talk to you about the idea she just pitched to me for a future kind of event for businesses like all of us.
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier on, I'm my day job, if you will, I'm a scientist, I'm a statistician, and when you do science, you know, you can't be an expert at everything that goes into science. And so when you go to meetings, when you're in your team, you sit around a big conference table like we're doing now. There's a statistician, there's a chemist, there's a biologist, there's an engineer. Everybody has their specialty. And so you all talk about what it is that you're developing, whether it be face cream or, you know, a cancer drug, whatever the case is. And then, you know, at the end of the meeting, you all go do what you need to do as a specialist. So I'm never going into the lab and, you know, working with mice or anything like that, but I'm going to help you design the study. You're going to go execute it. Then you're going to bring the data back to me. I'm going to analyze it, and then we're going to talk about it. And I may not understand the details of biology, but we're going to work together as a team. And so I asked Rena, could we do something similar using our resources, right? So this is our team. And, you know, I'm embarrassed to even say it because I don't know anything about Steve knows. I'm so pathetic at this.
No, you're not.
Oh my God. You know, but,
Let me stop you for a second, just to what if we, let's set it up, so what if we had a big room with 20 tables? And each table had the kind of expert combination that you would need. A financing person, a marketing person, a technical assistance person, or this, that. And you came in, ran an event, you came in, and you could spend time, right? Just working it through with your table. Would that be something of interest is basically what you, right? Am I?
Yeah.
So it's a cross-functional hackathon.
Yes, yeah. And so that way you don't become an expert finance person, but you're gonna understand the numbers. Because you have a vision, you know what the resources are. But you're gonna talk to an expert finance person who's gonna help you organize it. I am certainly not an expert in writing a business plan, but I'm gonna share my ideas with you. And you're gonna provide me with the guidance and that expert knowledge to help me pull it all together. And so on and so on. And the same way with marketing and the whole nine yards. So I don't want to be an expert at everything. I love the idea of what I do.
I think that's a great idea because whoever at your table as well, you can get feedback from other people at your table, not just the experts.
Yeah.
It's almost like blitzing for your business, like you can pick the brains and work through things like a think tank for your business in one, setting. The other thing that Carol mentioned, the crowdfunding thing, I think is something we'll do somehow, try to do something like that. But are there any other kinds of things that you didn't hear today that you would like more resources around to support your business? We need to know. Anything? What's over?
So one thing that Mindy had mentioned was the cross referrals. And I think that we all need that desperately. Someone that who can either help us, right, grow, or we could be a strategic partner with. So, like she was saying, to these two, the manufacturing company, that kind of thing, furniture as well. I think we can all use perhaps some ideas of who we could reach out to, like me, maybe interior designers, or just ideas coming up.
That's a great idea. Yes? Anything else?
So can I go right down that list? So I appreciate you guys having, number one, I appreciate you guys having me, and thanks so much for Launchpad. Thanks for giving me the heads up about this. Sorry, I was late. My business is in pretty good shape. You mentioned something about business planning. Let me say something. 10 years ago, I worked with somebody from SCORE in Bridgeport to do my business plan. I wrote a 5-year and a 10-year business plan. It was the best thing I ever did in my life. They didn't charge me. I put my own brain to it. And in the beginning, I'm like, oh shit, I'm not going to make money for 5 years. And I took out a home equity line of credit because I didn't know anything else. And it's exactly what happened. And then 5 years after that, I paid back my home equity line of credit, and now I'm in a really good place. So that was good. And the follow-up account with Dina was just asking about, I need some legal or maybe even town help. I think I'm probably even operating illegally. I know my wife has certain filings with the town, and she has to pay tax or something on her personal property. I don't know if you guys even know that I exist. I work on my car. So I'm probably in violation of the law to some extent. They may or may not
I think the legal thing is really key. I didn't think of that. And I think legal guidance is really, really important.
Yeah, because I hang a shingle on the side of my car, literally, and go to people's houses and sell them insurance. But I don't even think you know who I am. And to that end, on the way out, I came here late, but on the way out, I have these handy jar openers. Everyone can take one. I have a hot pink, lime green, and blue. They're on the edge of the table there. They're very handy.
Thank you so much.
I think right along with legal services, taxes, I think is really important because one of the things with WEDC is that you have to have a credible accounting system so that you can prove to them. So you need to, and I'll tell you that that's what snagged many of the really small businesses that I've worked through, because they don't have that. So because they don't have 2 years, or they would do however, so I think taxes, and one of the great things is that the IRS is really not out to them. Right, they even have sam.gov that you could even go on there and it'll tell you if you have an idea, to say, this is how you should license it, or this is what you should consider. It gives you like a whole sheet to work through, so I would say legal, licensing, and, because I have a lot of small businesses that I've seen that are like doing hair and doing makeup and all kind of stuff, and it's just that. So we need to get them to a place where they're revenue producing and tax, and being a good tax base, because then it can apply for other things. So those would be my
So
comments.
if we do the thing, if we do the event at Melissa, it's gonna be called Melissa's Day. If we do the event that Melissa was kind of leading us to, we should have a legal kind of tax person at the table, right? That would be one of our people, a legal person on the team.
Yep. Well, can I just give a piece of just advice, unsolicited advice, but further to your point, I really want to thank you for saying that. As a business advisor with the WBDC, and I'm going to look to my colleagues here who I'm sure are going to know, that no matter if you really started a business now or have an LLC or not, please do yourself a favor, do us a favor, but mostly do yourself a favor, and on day one, open up a separate banking account for your business. Now, this is a whole class in and of itself. Does it have to be a business bank account? Well, if you're not technically an LLC or a business yet, you get a pass by just opening up, like, Jane 2. Your Jane 1 for your personal, Jane 2 is for the, somehow separate it as soon as possible. Because untangling, co-mingled business and personal accounts is a complete disaster. You will miss out on opportunities to write things off for taxes. You will miss out on opportunities to, please just do it. And most places, especially if you're going to one of the smaller banks, the checking account will be free, right? No minimums, no whatever. Just do that for yourself. I can help you a lot if it's separated. I really can't help you if it's all commingled. That is hours of work, and it is unsexy work. Nobody wants to do it. Please.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And to that point, as far as applying for grants, what you just said also, Carmen, I've had a couple of clients that have come to me because they can't apply for grants because they don't have QuickBooks, or they don't have something very much along those lines. And it's not hard, and you can't always be your own, your own bookkeeper and your own CEO. So you've got to pay attention to those things. I had a client that I had, she gave me pen and paper too much, and you can't, because you can't apply for it. So she got a QuickBooks account. I taught her how to do it, and she does it. So
the other thing is, for those of you who are running cash businesses, whether it's baking or you're selling whatever it is you make at pop-up markets or farmers markets, know that if you are having set up with the Secretary of the State and the Department of Revenue Services, if you then look to expand into a commercial kitchen or do anything else in terms of wanting to grow and expand, that's going to require you to borrow capital. If you haven't done any of those things, and you have no track record, you're not in good standing with the IRS because you got no business account and you haven't collected sales tax, it is going to be impossible for a lender to do business with you.
Many grants as well. Same thing for grants. They won't take you. You're not able to tell us your 2 years of business, but you can go on.
I haven't taken my business off the ground yet. Can you just tell me the top 3, 4, or 5 pitfalls that you see of businesses, like when they're just starting out, if there are any?
They don't separate their business and personal.
And having an account separate, yes, those are the pitfalls.
That's the key. Okay.
Yes.
There's probably others, but
The gentleman sitting next to you would be able to tell you if you're looking for funding, what the pitfalls. Yes, but yes, starting it correctly right from the beginning, and as Samantha said, whether you're doing business as, or you want to set it up as an LLC, personal assets, that is up to you when you register at the town. Where you're doing business, the other one you register with the state of Connecticut. But you really should register your business.
I'd say another pitfall is, as I mentioned before, not understanding what your objective is. Because then how, even before you get to a business plan, which you should also have, even if you're not going to borrow any money, if you don't need money, you should have a business plan for yourself. I get to talk to clients about kind of the need. There's two reasons to have a business plan, and they might even be, one might be more detailed than the other. The one for yourself should be more detailed, because this is more of a how-to guide for me to get through, right? You have your detailed marketing plan as a part of it, where the bank doesn't need to see a detailed marketing plan. They want to know at a higher level what you're going to do for marketing. But to even start, you have to understand what your objective is. And I think that's one of the biggest stumbling blocks. People don't know whether they're succeeding or not, because they don't know what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, they sort of flounder, and then they kind of let their clients tell them what a good job they're doing, and then they kind of like meet their clients' needs, and then they just don't have that foundation.
And you need to have a realistic expectation of when you're not going to reinvest every dime that you take in back into your business.
You have to also understand the big word is cash flow.
Yeah.
If you don't know what cash flow is, then you'll stumble with what they're saying.
Let me throw out a question to the banks. A lot of my clients assume that, well, I'm starting my business, I shouldn't take an income. I should kind of, one, be bootstrapped, two, be demonstrating my dedication to this thing. I frequently say to them, look, you have to demonstrate that you have to pay your personal bills. Otherwise, I think your lender's going to be worried that you're going to then start making bad decisions, because now I don't have any income, and what might I be doing with my business funds if I'm not? Now, if you have other sources of income, whether that's a spouse, whether that is investment income, that's fine. But let me just throw it out to the bankers. Do you agree that it's reasonable, even for a startup from the beginning, to put in a livable salary for themselves?
Yeah, we'll stress the loan request. Even if you're not if you don't put one in, we will put one in for you, even if you don't plan on taking. Because at the end of the day, if the business isn't generating enough revenue to even pay the loan back, how is it going to continue to pay for you to do that business? So yeah, that is definitely something we look at is it going to generate enough revenue to cover the loan as well as your living expenses?
And can I just back up one more thing? You need to know what problem you solve. Forgetting all the money and forgetting everything else, you need to figure out when you're building your business, what problem you're solving and who is it that you're solving it for. Because you need to know and talk to people who you want to solve it for. Because forget all the financing and everything, you need to have like grassroots ground, a place to start and clients to work from. So test it out and see what it is and if people like it. Obviously from what you've done already with Gina and stuff, people are enjoying the video. So if you're going along that line, see who your target client would be, and then you can worry about the money.
I would also say that ensure that you all engage in understanding the legal structure of your business, what you're choosing. If you're choosing an LLC, engage an attorney, let them explain to you why it's important, why if it is important, then explain to you what all the details are so that you're just not choosing something, you're just not choosing LLC, you're just not choosing corporation, you understand the why behind it to make sure it's the proper fit for you. And also a CPA, because the CPA will help you with exactly those things that we're all talking about. Well, what are the details that I need to understand in terms of taking on an income, what do those revenues look like, what should I do in terms of developing a business plan and how I'm going to incorporate the revenues into my business plan that I'm projecting, and how I'm going to have a cost of funds paid for. Like, the details are really important, and having a team is really important.
I just wanted to also say that, especially with small businesses, and I've been guilty of this as well, that I give a lot away. And I'd have to change my language and say, listen, you've got to give me, even if it's an honorarium that I'll donate on, that I'll say I'll give back to the organization. But when you're giving things away for free, people don't value your time the way that you do. I might be waiting for a client until whatever hour, or you're telling me you're looking to hire somebody, so I've had to change my language. But I'll say like an honorarium, and I've had events where they paid me $250 and they paid me $20. I'm not telling you what it is, but if you tell me you're gonna pay me $200, I'll be like, okay, you good. I went to 20, but you still paid me. Plus, you can take credit for that when you're marketing yourself that you've had paid activity, and they want to see it, even if it's a little bit. But we've got to start with changing our language. That what is my time worth? And I'll tell you, and especially nonprofits are like the worst in that. Like the small little grassroots, they just give everything away, and you just can't do that. I saw your hand up for a long time, so I'm gonna toss it to you.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, can I follow up on that? So what my...
She's had her hand up.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, go ahead, that's okay.
Like a minute, so I'm gonna toss it to you.
No, thank you, Carmen, that's really important.
I'm sorry,
Don't worry about it, don't worry.
No
I want to reflect on question number 2, because I think that's really important about reflecting on where we need to grow. I think I'm at a point where I clinched a major client, I've been with them for a year, and now it's like, now what, right? I need to find another big client in order for me to become sustainable. There are lean months where there's not a lot of training, there's not a lot of international clients, and typically when in a training cycle, you do Asia, and then you do, Europe and all that stuff, right? So after you service it kind of thing, I'm just kind of looking for the next big thing. And I think, maybe it's part of the growth, and I don't have a business plan. It was all part of the networking that I do, but it would be great to help figure out what is the next big company. I am not McKinsey. But I can look for people who can, we can pull together and offer that services, and be able to provide that kind of world-class training. And so for me, it's thinking, it's networking, but also figuring out how do I clinch my next big client in order to help me and market myself too, and build my credibility further, because if I stay with one company or regular, which is great, right? But it would be nice to touch smaller businesses who are in need of training solutions, but they can't afford McKinsey's or all that stuff. But it would be great to market to smaller businesses, and I'm trying to find that spot. But I love that question, because it really forced me right now to articulate that, yes, I cannot rely on one person for my credit buyers, right? One company and one contact. If they get laid off next week, I'm out, right?
But
yes.
building yourself as a content expert
Yes.
is going to be key. And I think getting some technical assistance too, to think through your business is going to be, in your business plan further, is going to be helpful, because you have it all inside of you, and you need a thought partner.
Right,
to help
right.
you organize and direct.
And networking, do you have a card?
I do. Thanks, yeah.
And slow and steady. Everybody looks for the big one, but the idea is to get many steady that you can count on, because that's, everybody's like, I'm not doing anything for less than this dollar amount, and then people don't get you. Rather, I try to do slow and steady so that people know you, plus you're gonna feel better, you're not cramming. Sorry.
Thank you.
Any other lessons learned?
I just have one comment. The Women's Business Development Center has helped me, SCORE has helped me, a bunch of places have helped me. And I think, just speaking to your point about what to be really concerned about when you're first starting out, and I think that the one-pager business plan is one of the greatest things out there. It's not terribly overwhelming. It prompts you. There's one also called the Lean Canvas. And then it gives you more confidence to really look at the big picture. So if you think about a business plan and you're a new business person and haven't run a business before, it's pretty daunting. But if you start on a small scale, it's really helpful.
Great. Excellent. Yeah. Anyone else? Okay, and I think we talked about this, but I'm going to open it up to the floor. Follow-up event, how can we improve? What would you like to see more of, less of?
I liked the idea of if you break up into small groups or breakouts, so we can ask business-specific questions to people that are experts. Great help.
And Melissa then, what's coming up? Stay tuned for that. Any other feedback so we can make this more effective for you, so that you leave here, your time is well invested, and you leave here with what you need to go on to the next level?
I have an idea. Before the next event, send out a mass email to everybody and ask us if we have any specific questions. And then
Formulate this? Yes, okay. Or formulate the entire
Right.
agenda.
And that will, I was just gonna say, that will help plan the agenda, yeah.
Absolutely.
Any other, maybe more hands-on, so there's a little breakout groups that they're actually working on something differently, not just discussion, you know, doing something, filling out pages, or learning how to do something on a website, or, you know, that would be helpful.
Great. Okay, so something, breakout with the physical activity.
It sounds like, to Melissa's point and your point, a working, like the next step, a working session
Like
kind of
workshop.
function,
Yeah.
you know, where you could actually get into your business and do, like, start working on your one pager, you know, business plan or whatever. Okay, we're gonna think it through.
No.
Anything else?
Anything?
So I'm just gonna close this down, we got our director. Thank you all for being here. I was inspired listening to everybody's pitch today. I was impressed by how well you articulated what you're doing. Thank you